How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is wrapping up their Halloween sale for this year. Got a couple more days to check it out. Want to do a video highlighting some of the deals under $10. There's not a ton of stuff on sale, and we are going to be covering the November savings sale as well as I believe it's the games under 15 in a different video, so be on the lookout for that. We got a lot of stuff to cover, falling a little bit behind on these kinds of things, but wanted to cover this anyway, so let's get right into it, and let's start things off with Devil May Cry 5 and Vergil. This is the PlayStation 4 version of the game, so bear that in mind, but it's $9.89. That's less than half of what the PlayStation 5 version goes for. Now, the PlayStation 5 version is the special edition. It's got some bells and whistles attached to it. However, if you're still rocking a PS4, or if you don't really care about it, and the game still runs really, really well, so you know, $9.89 for this version I think is quite good. DMC5 is an awesome game. Now, truth be told, Devil May Cry from a narrative standpoint has never really hooked me, and some people find that blasphemous. Some people really are engrossed by the entire narrative that Devil May Cry has from all of the games, but never really hooked me. What did hook me, though, is the over-the-top action gameplay. What did hook me is the excellent soundtrack. Those elements of the game are what I need out of a fast-paced action game, and Devil May Cry 5 has that in spades. I actually just started another playthrough of this, and, you know, we'll see how long it takes for me to beat it, given that there's 8 billion games coming out right now, but it's a shorter game. It's not like it's going to take you that long, so if you want a game that you can get in, get out, have a good time with, sub $10, DMC5 I think is a great pickup. Next up, we have Focus Home Entertainment's Vampyr. This is 75% off for $9.99. This is also coming from Don't Nod Entertainment, the same people that brought you Life is Strange, so kind of a interesting contrast to that game. This is much, much different, but it still has a strong emphasis on its narrative. The voice acting is really strong. It has one of the more compelling main characters. The ending isn't that great, but overall, I still really enjoyed the game. It was one of those games that really surprised me. I believe it came out back in June of 2018, and I remember, like, as we were heading into the release of this game, I was like, this game is gonna bomb, and then it didn't bomb. It did much better than I expected it to do. I bought it at full price, and I really enjoyed it, and commercially, it did fairly well as well. If you haven't checked it out, $9.99 I think is a great price. Would I have said it was, you know, a $50, $60 game? No, absolutely not, but sub $10, absolutely. Check this one out. It's one that slipped through the cracks to some people, but yeah, give it a look. It's also available on PlayStation Plus Extra. Next up, gotta give this game a mention just so some people can get absolutely infuriated with me. The Order 1886, 50% off for $9.99. Oh man, I could talk about this game for like 3 hours, and some people are gonna joke, oh, that's how long it takes to beat the game, and that's not too much of a stretch, because you could probably, I don't know if you can beat it in 3 hours, but you could beat it pretty damn quickly. Very easy platinum trophy as well, if you are into that kind of thing. This is a super compelling game, I think, from a narrative and world standpoint. Unfortunately, this is a game that was clearly ultimately designed to be a franchise, and with how this game did, that's never gonna come to fruition. I bet you there's still a billion petitions online of people wanting an Order 1887 or whatever they would ultimately call the game. But if you are looking for a quick, concise, to the point, you know, shorter game that you can beat within, you know, 5 to 6 hours, I think you're gonna have a good time with Order 1886. Look, nobody is saying that you should spend $60 on this game. The idea of spending $60 on this game is so wild, and take it from somebody that did drop $60 on this game. It's one of the most disgusting $60 purchases you can make based on how much content you're getting, but at sub $10, it's okay. Ideally, you'd want to pay $5 for this game, but more often than not, when this game goes on sale, it's usually $9.99, so I'm just like, yo, check it out. I think, like, you can find something pretty interesting in it, and it's one of those games that has become like one of these infamous PlayStation exclusives, but I think everybody should give it a shot, and for $10 I think it's okay. Next up, a game that's revered as a PlayStation exclusive, Bloodborne's on sale, 50% off for $9.99. Most of you guys probably already own the game. It's available on Plus Extra, but if you don't, Bloodborne was a game to me that I'm not big on the Souls-like games. Like, I can play them. I played all the Dark Souls games. I literally have played every Souls game. But Bloodborne was the one that really hooked me into it. I think it's got to do something with the setting. I just love the ambiance to this game. I love the darker look to it, this dark and, you know, dangerous world, so to speak. Obviously, the performance issues are there. If you're more accustomed to 60 frames per second gaming in the year of 2022, this is one that definitely shows its age a little bit, but I still think the ambiance, the presentation, the soundtrack, And obviously the gameplay is just still so incredibly strong that for, you know, sub 10 bucks, it's worth a pickup. Obviously, I think a lot of people are going to say, hey, just wait for the complete edition bundle to go on sale so you can get the Old Hunters DLC. Whatever you want to do, base game for $9.99 I think is great. Next up, Dragon Age Inquisition Game of the Year Edition. We're talking $8.79 on this one. This includes the base game as well as some additional content. Dragon Age Inquisition was a really solid RPG. I remember when this game came out in 2014, and me and my buddy actually had a conversation about it because he's replaying this game right now. And he was like, man, back in 2014, I remember this being a really good RPG. And he was like, it was really setting a standard for RPGs at the time. And then he was also thinking about it, and he's like, you know, it really sucks that Witcher 3 came out like 5 months later and completely took the wind out of Dragon Age Inquisition's sail. And I was like, you know what? I never really thought of that, but he was onto something there, because I remember playing Dragon Age Inquisition right when it came out and really, really enjoying it, because it was one of the very first, like, next generation, big budget RPGs. And was it perfect? No, but I remember really enjoying the game. And then like Witcher 3 came out and I was like, oh my god, Witcher 3 is a masterclass. But Dragon Age Inquisition offers a lot to like as well. There's a ton of content to this game. I thought narratively it was pretty compelling. It's one that I definitely got to go back and give another playthrough to. It's just that, you know, jumping back into a super lengthy RPG, not something I'm super inclined to do right now, but if you got some free time, if you can clear out a couple weekends, it's a pretty solid pickup at sub 10 bucks at $8.79. Next up, Alien Isolation, the collection, 80% off for $7.99. Another one of the very early horror titles of the PlayStation 4 generation. Alien Isolation turned out to be really good. Like, whenever I talk about a horror game, atmosphere and ambiance is of utmost importance, and I feel like Alien Isolation did that really well. Does that kind of dissipate towards the latter portion of the game? Sure, but, you know, it's hard to maintain that throughout the entirety of any game. This version also includes some additional DLC. If you want, you know, an engrossing survival horror title, I think you'll find something to like with Alien Isolation, and this is a pretty good price, $8, definitely a good shout here. Next up, a game that I always go to bat for, Little Nightmares Complete Edition, 75% off for $7.49. Now, this was recently a PlayStation Plus title, so a lot of you guys probably already own it. Very, very dark and grim horror game with some puzzle elements as well. It's set in this kind of childish world that adds like to the ambiance of it being like a very, very dark and creepy. That's the best word to describe Little Nightmares. It's a very creepy world. I'm not big into, you know, various puzzles and whatnot, but I thought Little Nightmares did it pretty well. Again, if you have it through Plus, play it that way, but if you haven't picked it up, $7.49 I think is a good shout. Next up, want to give a mention to the Evil Within 1 and 2. These are $6 a pop. That is a ridiculously good deal. A lot of people I talk to like Evil Within 1 more than Evil Within 2, which I find a little surprising. I really dug Evil Within 2, but they're both solid action survival horror titles, and for $6 a pop, you can't go wrong with those. Definitely give them a pickup. Even if you're not big into horror games, these games are just solid narrative action titles, so check it out for yourself. Again, that price is pretty hard to beat. Next up, Walking Dead, the complete first season, 60% off for $6. Now, I would recommend, if you're looking to get into The Walking Dead, just get everything in one go if you can. They've got the complete collection. That usually goes on sale for like $19.99. It might even be on sale right now. Otherwise, if you do want to just play through the first season, see how you like it, I could definitely understand why you would want to do that. The first season is tremendous, and I think a lot of people would agree it's like the peak of the franchise. You know, I don't talk too much about tearing up in video games. This is one that did. I was incredibly compelled by the entirety of the story of this game. Bear in mind, when I played through it, it was literally right when it came out, and I was like 17 or 16 years old at the time, so, you know, cut me some slack. Cut a brother some slack, but $6 for Walking Dead is awesome. Again, you guys gotta know what to expect out of these Telltale games. It's super narrative-driven. It's this point-and-click adventure, some decision-making here and there, but you're looking at more of an engrossing narrative-driven experience. And one of those games that the Telltale titles, if you just want to, you know, bring a friend over, a significant other over, whatever, and have them watch you play a game, the Telltale games, I think, are always a good bet. So, yeah, $6 for this. I thought that was worth a shout. And then lastly, do also want to give a mention to Soma. Might as well, you know, the day after Halloween, give a mention to some of these horror titles. This was available on Plus Extra. Unfortunately, it was removed. This is a horror game that also does incredibly well of creating this dark, engrossing adventure. It's not a game that makes you feel, you know, over-the-top powerful or anything like that. It kind of, you know, sets a very creepy tone. It's set in this underwater research facility, and it's a very psychological horror game done by Frictional, the guys that brought you Amnesia. And Soma, in my opinion, is their best game. I know Amnesia gets the most amount of traction from them, but Soma's a really solid game. on the shorter side. You can complete it rather quickly, but for $6, unfortunate that it did get pulled to, from Plus Extra. It did just hit Game Pass, though, so if you have that, you can play it that way. Otherwise, $6 I think is a pretty good price. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals as a part of the Halloween sale right now. We're going to get to the November sale. We're going to get to the games under 15. A lot of things to cover over the next coming weeks and really months, but that's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.